Big Muddy Mayhem. This is the podcast where we are meeting you live to talk about true crime and bad behavior in the Midwest.
Each week we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you on this live edition today.
And I'm Tracey
And I'm Janet O'Brien.
Tracy. Hi, Janet.
Hello! We are so thankful for all of you to be here.
Yes, this is at Third Space over on South Broadway in St. Louis, and we have our live audience. Everybody scream for us. And so we're so happy you're here. It took a little bit. I somehow got it together. I have no idea. But anyway.
Well, and it's 1 year, and we are
1 year.
we're here live. We're recording. Well, episode 50 will actually drop after episode 49.
Right, this is actually
our
episode
50th episode.
This is our 50th episode we're recording tonight.
And so, and 1 year. And so,
Yes.
glad to be here.
Right.
Happy
Janet,
50th.
hello!
Hi! Are you doing okay?
How are you?
I'm doing just great.
All right. Well,
It's been a week. I think I already told you the things I did over the weekend because we just recorded 2 days ago. So
I know.
copy paste.
We've done 3 in a week,
I
actually,
know.
this week.
That is a lot.
So, which was a
We're not going to do 3 in a week. That's a bad idea.
But otherwise, we do have a couple of stories for you. We didn't just bring you out here and lure you with cake, although there will be cake.
Oh yeah, there's a big ass cake over there. So I don't know. Ass cake?
The cake is not alive. The cake is not alive.
So who starts this week?
I start this week.
Oh, okay.
So I go first.
Okay.
And I do have a story for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank you for coming out to see us live.
Yes.
Just a quick poll so I can find out, amongst the people that are here, who is holding?
Who's what?
Who's holding?
Who's holding?
Motrin? Who here remembers Burger Chef?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Burger Chef, if you are a youngin' and you're listening, call your mom, she misses you.
And also it became Hardee's. Well,
It did.
yes.
We're going to get there.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
It's your
Burger
story.
Chef was founded in
I don't know her story.
That's good too.
Yes.
Founded in 1954 and closed in 1966 when the chain was absorbed by Hardee's.
Yes.
So Hardee's, or if you go out west, Carl's Jr.
Right.
The burgers were served either dressed or plain. So you could get a plain one and then go to the Works bar and figure out what you wanted to put on it.
Oh yeah, the one where they have all the pickles and the onions and stuff.
Right.
Oh, I forgot
Sort
about
of
that.
like how Wendy's had the baked potato bar.
Right.
And anyway, but yeah, dressed or plain, owned by Hardee's. Their Works bar was where you could put your own stuff on. Geared towards families that were on the go, where all right, fine, we can just take everybody into the same thing. And if the kids don't Susie doesn't like pickles, and Kenny doesn't like lettuce, and all of that, then whatever you want, everybody can have what they wanted.
You can have it your way?
Well, I mean, that's trademark. Janet, do you have a way to show our photos?
I can. Hold, please.
I sent
You
it
talk,
to you.
I do photos.
All right. So we're looking for a first photo. But anyway, it was just, it was around the same time that any kind of fast food restaurant became a, there we go. The first one, I think, was what I wanted, but that's all right. This is good.
I can bring it up another.
The Burger Chef
Keep going.
Okay. Well, the Burger Chef menu. But we're not here to talk about like how you can get burgers.
Okay, that's what you're looking for.
Yes. Oh no, that was the. Oh
That-
no, sorry, first one.
Not that
It's
one.
okay. We'll get there. Leave it out. Just leave that one out.
Okay.
We're good.
Fine.
I'm here to tell you, Janet, about the Burger Chef murders.
What?
What?
Burger Chef murder.
What? Has anyone here heard about the Burger Chef murders?
No.
That would explain a lot. That
Alright.
could explain a lot.
Dang.
We're going to talk about it. In November of 1978, Speedway, Indiana, which is population about 14,000, working that evening, closing down the Burger Chef in Speedway, are 4 people. We have Jane. She is 20 years old. She is the assistant manager. Her nickname was Sweet Jane because everyone that worked with her thought that she was just the nicest person. We have Daniel, who is 16. He's a new hire and a cook. He had yet to receive his first paycheck. That's how new he was. Mark, who is 16 also. He's not even supposed to be there today.
Anybody ever work in a fast food chain?
Yeah.
That's common.
Does Mexico count?
But he switched with a girl that he worked with because she had a date with a guy that worked there and she really, really, really wanted to go. And so he's like, all right, I'll take your shift so you can go out with Hunky Brian, who is, Hunky Brian is the handsome guy. And then we also have Ruth Ellen. She's also relatively new. She's pretty. She's popular. She is a computer science geek.
Woohoo!
And just kind of like honor society, this sort of, also has only been there for a month or 2. Brian goes on his date with the girl that got the night off. And then as he's driving her home, he has to drive by the Burger Chef and he's like, oh, well, the lights are still on. Now, he still has to get this girl back before curfew. So he does that, and then on the way home, he's like, somebody covered my shift. I'm gonna go in and help them close.
Nice.
Is anybody gonna go get coffee? Like, whatever. Now, clap if you have ever ended up at Denny's at midnight for no good reason. Right? Clap if you've ever had somebody that worked a closing shift at a job and you just went by to visit them for no good reason.
Oh, good reasons. Always good reasons.
Right. So this night does not end that way. I wish it ended in disco fries or something. But Brian, well, he shows up at the Burger Chef at about 12:30 a.m. Things are not right. He goes around the back door, which is always locked from the inside. It's ajar by a few inches. And the only time that they ever do that is when they're taking out the trash. But the trash cans are inside. And inside also all the lights are on. The register is open. The drawer is on the floor. And all of the cash is out, but all of the coins are left. Both of the girls that were working there, their purses are there. And everybody's coats are there. This is November in Indiana, Indiana. And so, there's no world in which everybody leaves and just leaves all of that left alone.
Right.
Jane's car is also gone. So Brian calls 911.
Good. Hey.
He's one of the first smart people that we will find in this story. The Speedway police arrive, and they quickly discount the entire thing. They're like, this is probably petty theft. this is probably going to be an inside job. He even says something about like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'm going to hear from them later on tonight. The next morning, 16-year-old Mark has not come home from work.
Oh boy.
And so his parents call. And they're like, hey, listen, our son didn't come home from work. This is not great. The police brush this off as well, and they're like, oh, he's probably with some friends. And he says, well, just call us if he comes home. Call us if he comes home. When your 16-year-old kid is missing. Well, then the next day, Sunday, the 18th of November, nobody has done a thing about this crime scene. There have been no photos. There have been no crime scene texts. There have been no fingerprints. There's no be-on lookout. There's nothing.
That's not good. That's not
Nothing
good at all.
at all.
Nope.
They dismiss the fact that the coats, the purses are left. The money in the register, the robbers got away with like $581, which in 1978, that's not that bad.
Right, exactly.
But still, that's not what you run away on.
Right.
So since the police aren't worried, the restaurant opens as usual. The police don't close anything down, and the Sunday shift shows up, and they're just like, yeah, you know, it was a little weird last night, but just mop the floors, wipe everything down, throw everything away.
Oh my God.
Who's gonna need this?
Yeah, nobody needs fingerprints or whatever.
They cleaned everything that the night shift didn't finish. Like, who the fuck closed last night? What happened?
Party.
And also, a ton of people have now been through the crime scene. Now, the very next day, so we're looking
On
at
Monday?
Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
Is this the
Sunday
fourth
the
day?
19th.
It's the fourth or third day?
I don't know.
This is the third day.
Okay. the
So,
third day.
they're closing on the evening of the 17th,
Right.
and by Sunday on the 19th.
Okay.
They're like, okay, a few things are happening. First of all, Jane's car is located. It's just a few blocks away, and the passenger door is unlocked, but the driver's doors is locked. And the police put out a statewide alert because also now, like, Mark's parents have called in. They're like, oh yeah, no, maybe nobody's seen all four of these kids for like a day and a half. Maybe we ought to do something about this.
What?
But they put out, an alert for missing persons, but they also say, families, please don't show or share any missing photos of your kids. Your missing kids.
What?
Right.
Don't share it with the paper.
What?
Let us handle this.
They're not handling it very well already.
They weren't handling it at all. But they're like, hey, don't put your photos out with the press. 3 out of 4 families agree with the police. Mark's family is the one that is like, hey, no, come on.
Right.
He's 16. And also I should point out at this point in time, the manager at the Burger Chef says these kids were like the best, most responsible kids.
Oh no.
Like, they are like better off than I would be closing this stuff. Like, there's no reason to think that they did anything at all
Oh my God.
that was questionable. So, like I said, statewide alert for missing persons, don't show photos. The press is picking up on this. And they're like, oh, well, this is abduction. The whole story is now, from this point on, it's going to be media versus police, police versus police,
Oh
etc.,
boy.
etc. So, the 19th, a couple in nearby Johnson County. They're out walking the perimeter of their property. And they see 45 minutes away from the burger chef. They're walking around and they find bodies.
Oh no. How many?
4.
Okay.
As many as we're missing. Do I have?
That's okay.
Okay. Well, all 4 of them, and the thing that is the most, I don't know if we can do this. The only reason, yes, well, this is it. They're all in their burger chef uniforms. Like, if you're a ghost, and you die in what you're wearing.
You're stuck in the burger chef outfit. Oh my god.
If I ever haunt any of you, you know I'm gonna be in a moo-moo. Like she showed up, she wasn't wearing a bra. I know it was Tracey.
Giggity, giggity.
But they find 4 people in burger chef uniforms. And, all right, now we're gonna get sad again.
Okay.
Ruth Ann and Daniel are both shot. They're face down. They were shot execution style. Jane, who is the assistant manager, she's a little bit away. She's been stabbed a couple of times, and she's got a 5-inch knife that is embedded in her chest.
Oh my god.
The knife handle is gone. It's just the blade that's left there. And Mark is about 75 yards away. Like, they initially think that maybe he got away until they found his body. And he has blunt force trauma to his head. And it looks as though the cause of death is that he has choked on his own blood. Death by asphyxiation. So the Speedway Police Department still think that this is a robbery, but all of the victims still have their wallets,
Oh my god.
cash in their pockets, jewelry on their bodies. Time of death is about 2 a.m., so it's, not too long after they were closing down.
4th or 5th day?
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
we're not
third
keeping
day.
track.
So it happened on, so Friday is when they go missing, Sunday is when they find the bodies, but they think that early Saturday morning, like late into the night, Friday night into early Saturday morning, is when they find the bodies.
Gotcha.
The police department, which has to be about the worst one ever,
What?
they call the parents. All right, your children have been missing for 2 days. And you get a phone call and they say, you need to come down to the station right away. We found your children. Janet, what do you think that means?
Not enough
No,
information?
I mean, when you say come down to the station, we found your children, I would say you found my children alive. If you found them dead, I would expect to find a police officer on my front porch.
Or saying
Something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we love audience reactions, but the narrative should just be between Janet and I. Just so we know. So anyway, yeah, Janet, like, have you ever woken up on Christmas morning and you hurry to the tree and your folks are like, Santa brought you a puppy. There's a puppy in this box.
Yeah.
But that puppy isn't really a puppy anymore. Yeah, it's a little like that.
Oh my
They
God.
show up, they think that they're going to be reunited with their kids. And they're like, oh yeah, all of them?
They're all
Yeah.
dead.
All dead.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
The cops tell the families nothing, and they gatekeep everything. So the crime is in one county, the bodies are found in another county, so now it's a state case. And you have 2 different counties, Johnson County and then Speedway, that are
Speedway can just drop it as far as I'm
arguing
concerned.
with so much ego.
Right.
And not much to go on considering that everything was scrubbed on day 1.
Oh my god.
Many tip calls, most of them are clogging pipes. There's one that seems credible. A couple calls in. They were out in the back of the Burger Chef that night, parked in a lot behind the Burger Chef, like you do. You're in Speedway, Indiana. What do you do?
You make out in the parking lot.
Ooh,
of the
well,
Burger
you're
Chef.
you're a couple that's parked out in the back of the Burger Chef. Could be pot, could be sex. We don't know. We don't know their lives, and frankly, it does not matter what they're doing.
Right.
But they do say that they were out there, and two, as they quote, white guys, disheveled, in like ragged clothing. They roll up, and they ask the couple for ID. And the couple's like, why? And they say, oh, there's been a whole lot of like crime in this area, so you should go. So they do. No backlot hand jobs were going to be had that night. He went home frustrated. She went home frustrated. Everybody went home frustrated. And so do the cops, because that is the only lead that they get.
Oh my God.
At all. And they don't have a sketch artist. Janet.
Tracey.
Janet.
Tracy.
Janet.
Tracy.
What do you do when you're a small town police department and you don't have any way to create a crime scene sketch?
I don't know. Do you? I don't know. I don't know. You gotta tell me. I don't know.
You hire
Who do you hire?
a college art student whose uncle happens to be one of the investigators on the case.
Of course. That makes
But-
total sense.
You don't want to get in between an artist and the medium.
No.
And this is not a sketch artist. She's a sculptor. So she makes a few sculptures of what she thinks
Oh my God.
the suspects look like. A couple of busts. One is bearded, one is clean shaven, and he had a scarf over his face from look, let's not get in the way of artistic license, shall we? So, nothing they can't change. Here's what we know. It does look as though, according to the only witnesses we have,
Right.
the busts actually do look a lot like the people.
Well, that's good. Okay.
We know that there are different methods of death. 4 different victims. There's no way that one person is going to be able to overcome
No.
4 people.
Absolutely not.
Also, they find Ruth's car nearby, but not to jump ahead, but we're gonna find the rest of them a ways away. And so somebody had to have a second car. And like I said, again, one person is unlikely to
You kill
overcome
4
4.
people that way. Absolutely.
Not easily.
Yeah. Burger Chef puts up a $25,000 reward.
Wow.
Now, this is in the 80s. This is pretty good. Steak and Shake also gives $1,000. There are so many calls. There's so much infighting in between the press, the police. But from 600 plus calls,
Yeah.
how many credible leads?
2?
0.
Oh, dang.
By the end of 1978, everything is largely forgotten. In the Indianapolis Star,
Yeah.
somebody sets up a couple of years later an anonymous tip line, and they get helpful stuff like, I saw a guy that looked like him, and he was standing on the corner that night.
Super unhelpful.
I saw 2 guys that looked like that tried to shortchange me at my register.
That is a.
The police are also looking into criminal masterminds like 16-year-old Mark. Maybe he's the one that's in charge of this.
Well, you know, Mark.
Fucking Mark. He took a coworker's shift that night.
Oh.
He wasn't even supposed to be there. What kind of monster does that?
Someone who needs money?
He's only been there a couple of weeks.
Oh no, so he's a target. Aww.
So we end up with two main leads. Number one, the two guys that are that are sketchy Burger Chef parking lot couple sees. They're arrested then a few months later in Chicago for a crime that they committed in Milwaukee.
Oh.
Hey, Milwaukee!
I know what.
They are dead ringers for the composites. They're wanted for robbing and shooting two other men execution style.
Oh dear.
In Milwaukee, but one of those guys didn't die, which is how we know who they are. But according to the Speedway Police Department, those crack job like aces on the job,
Right.
they're like, oh, the timeline excuses them. No details. And then we're gonna get to our next suspect, which is Donald Ray Forrester. He contacts a reporter for the Indianapolis Star, and he says, hey, I've got info, and I'll tell if you'll help me out.
Mm.
Now, this is the first time in this case that we've got a jailhouse snitch that's, like, willing to say anything. The reporter's like, well, what have I got to lose? I'm going to meet you. Speedway cops know who he is. He was a serial criminal. He had been kind of known for petty crime, theft, that sort of thing. But he had just recently, prior to the murders, he had escalated into something that was like involving assault. And then he was out on parole, because that always works.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's out on parole the time that the murders happened, and then a couple of months later than that, he is arrested for sexual assault and sentenced to 95 years. This reporter meets with him in 1985. He's failed 2 polygraphs by then.
Oh boy.
But you know what? Polygraphs, honestly, I don't know
Yeah,
about
they
you.
really should not be in this.
They're kind of BS.
Because you can totally fake them.
Completely. Or you can totally fail them, even if you're... Yeah. So, he's talking to the guy, he's like, well, okay, yeah, you say you have nothing to do with it, but, gosh, my only question is, why? Why would anyone have anything to do with this murder? And, Donald Ray, we're going to call him D-Ray for the rest of the story. Donald Ray
D-Ray.
Forster. D-Ray says, drugs. And he denies anything having to do with it, but he does drop hints. They take him into custody. They take him out, and I think that this happens a lot more than you would think. If you're on death row, or if you're like in for life, like sometimes you just want a field trip.
Right.
So even if he doesn't know anything,
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I know where things are.
I can go out. Can we get Burger King on the way? Is there a Burger Chef? They even go so far as to hire a hypnotist
Oh my god.
to see if maybe he just knows something and doesn't know it. It all goes nowhere. So by 1986, detectives have given up on him. And they're like, all right, well, fine. This is fine. We're going to put this to bed. We're never going to find out.
Right.
But by middle of summer 1986, Donald Ray wants to confess. He says, yep, this is a drug-related thing. He has details, dates, methods. Everything is all in line with what happened. And he knows some things that maybe were not commonly known. So they believe it. And they're like, all right, well, that's cool. We'll take your testimony.
Sure.
He wants maybe a new trial for his latest accusation. And they're like, we'll see what we can do.
Uh-huh.
Well, he recants.
Oh, I hate that.
I know.
I did it. No, I didn't.
Not enough to prosecute him. I think that honestly he was just scared of being labeled a jailhouse snitch, and if he couldn't get all the way off, then
he's, yeah.
you know, if you show up, you're the one that's already dropped a dime on so many people. He says Jane's brother was a coke dealer, and he screwed over his connection, and that's what was going on.
Wow.
But then, like I said, he walks it all back. So, a little while later, like 6 months later, Jane's brother is arrested.
Ooh, okay.
He never worked for Burger Chef, but he did have a couple of like prior drug arrests.
Okay.
And he had been involved in some kind of a cocaine ring. So he gets arrested, and he even says when they're arresting him, like he's not trying to save himself, but he says like, hey, this might be what happened to my sister.
Oh.
The Speedway Police Department, because
They're phenomenal.
bang on. They're like, oh yeah, no, they pay no attention to that. As far as Donald Ray goes, with no physical evidence, there are no charges. So as of today, this case is still open. Donald Ray died from cancer a few years after that, and so the case is unsolved.
Wow.
And they haven't closed it. It's still open. It's still untouched in Speedway, Indiana. They still have not done anything more to
Oh, wow.
try to like solve the case. And those poor 4 teenagers are still haunting all of us in the brown and orange uniforms.
Right.
And I know that this is sad, and I didn't want to do a sad case, and I didn't want to do an unsolved case.
No.
But this one had so many twists and turns, I just had to take it. And wow. And my sources for today, Wikipedia.com, CrimeCapsule.com, WRTV.com, The Morbid Podcast.
Nice.
And that is the story of the Burger Chef murder.
Yay! That was great, Tracy.
Thank
I'm
you.
wandering away so I can pull up my pictures.
course.
Because that's what I do.
I know. I only had the 2.
Right. Scent. Is that
There really weren't any, because there wasn't anything with that story, and like,
right?
although man, I had the biggest craving for a burger.
With all the fixings.
I had to go
All
to
the
Schnucks
fixins.
today and get like frozen White Castles and eat them for lunch.
You know the burger chef that was in downtown Ferguson. That burger chef, my dad and I went in there, and we were getting our food, and the guy's like, oh, today's the last day we're gonna be Burger Chef, but we're reopening tomorrow. It's Hardee's, and he gave us the plastic salt and pepper shakers from Burger Chef.
Oh my
Those lived at the cabin for years until one of the floods killed them. So
Burger Chef, real quick. All right, so I'm gonna, because it's our podcast and we can do what we want. Does anyone remember Apple Slice as a soda? Is it just me?
Yeah,
my
I
goodness.
do.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right. I loved Burger Chef because that was the only place. I think they only tried it out in a couple of markets. But there was an apple flavored soda that was like a lemon lime that had apple flavor and apple slice and Burger Chef. That was the only time I ever had that. And I got out with my life. And
Well,
now
that
it's time for you to tell me a story, right?
I do have a story. I changed my story like 3 times.
Oh, I know.
I was just like, oh, no. No, don't like any of those. So I found an interesting one, and I had already known about this. We're not technically in the Midwest, but whatever. Iowa it's in the middle of the United States. It's close enough. So I'm going to talk about, have you heard of Amy Lynn Fuller?
I have not.
This is the lady right here.
She's cute, and she knows how to pick a pair of glasses that work really well for her face, right? Yeah. Like, that's cute.
Does she have glasses?
She does.
Oh,
wait.
I think it's her hair.
Oh, it is her.
I'm like, no, put on the right eye. It really does look like glasses, for real.
And apparently I need new ones.
So Amy Lynn Fuller, she was born January 23rd, 1979. Her parents were Robert and Peggy Fuller. She was raised in Iowa in the Eldora area. She graduated from high school in 1997 from the Eldora New Providence High School. And then after high school, she went into community college, and she ended up becoming a registered nurse. While she was in college, she ended up meeting, she went to the Delaware State Fair. I don't know if it was actually I guess it was in Delaware. I don't know. It was random, whatever.
And
I'm like,
hence
this
the
is all
name.
Iowa, except this Delaware thing. Okay, it was only a second. So she goes to the Delaware State Fair in 2003, and she meets this man by the name of Todd Mullis, or Mullis, M-U-L-L-I-S. They start dating, they fall in love, they end up getting married in Manchester, Iowa on September 11th, 2004. They have 3 children, Tristan, Taylor, and Wyatt. Amy continued to work as a nurse, and Todd, he owned and operated a farming business that included 3 farming properties. So
I'm just saying right now, like with it being Tristan Taylor and the father's name Todd, I'm just so glad that they didn't lean into that.
Right?
Tristan Taylor, Trisket.
Right? Amy, she also worked on the family's farm with her husband. She also hunted, she fished, she liked camping. She was active in her community, and she had lots of friends.
Okay.
By 2013, you're in this, you're out in the country, okay? Mm-hmm. She knows people in the little town. She knows people who, nearby, but she starts to get a little bored of her marriage. Mm-hmm. So she starts having an affair with a man at her job. And this is at the hospital. Todd finds out, and she ends up she quits working at the hospital, and she becomes a stay-at-home mom because they have 3 children. Per Todd, she did this to repair the marriage. Per Amy's friends, she said Todd insisted she stop working as a nurse.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So he thinks she needs to stay home.
Right.
And
So he
she
can keep
is
an eye on
giving everything up.
Right.
So that she can kind of keep the peace.
Right. They end up entering counseling to repair their marriage. Per Amy's friends, Todd was very controlling and demanded that she tell him about everywhere she went. Like, he would time it.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. Amy's friends came up with a nickname for Todd. They came up with a nickname for Amy. Amy's nickname was P.O.T., Prisoner of Todd. Oh, no. Todd was jealous, and I think he was just verbally abusive, but he was abusive. This controlling behavior happened for the next 5 years, and because he just didn't trust her. Amy was still bored of her marriage and started having another affair in 2018 with Jerry Frasher, who happened to work on the farm with Todd.
Oh.
Nothing will go wrong, right?
Shit where you eat. That is the best way. Shit where you eat, you guys.
Per Jerry, it was more sexual for him, but of course Amy started to have feelings for him. Jerry was also married, but he was not seeking to get a divorce.
So they're both married, just not to each other.
Exactly. Todd, he ended up reviewing Amy's phone, records and noticed there were a lot of text messages between Amy and Jerry. Now, I mean, it wasn't weird that they had each other's phone number because Jerry worked on the farm, but there's like 112 texts.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, what? That's a whole lot of farm problems.
When Todd, being who he was, he ended up confronting Jerry, and Jerry denied the affair, and he said the texts were about the farm and the children's activities on the farm.
Oh, sure.
Sure, you know.
Little Jimmy got eaten by a sheep again this week.
Todd then contacted Jerry's wife. The wife was not worried at all. She's like, she already knew Todd was a little controlling and stuff, so she just kind of blew it off and was like, there's nothing wrong with my marriage. I am perfectly happy, and you're crazy. She really just thought he was crazy. Like, no, he comes home to me, I don't really care. Todd then ended up talking to some other friends, and it was suggested that maybe he should get a divorce because he doesn't, he can't trust her in the marriage anymore. But Todd replied, I have worked on this farm since I was 11 years old. I will not give it up.
Oh.
So we can already see this is not going to end well. Amy mentioned the affair to a friend, and she said she really wanted to divorce Todd, but of course she was afraid to divorce him because she was afraid of him,
I've worked on this marriage since I was 11 years old.
The friend honestly thought Todd would kill her if she filed for divorce.
Wow.
Small town rumors started to go around about the affair. That same friend ended up telling Amy about the rumors, so she wouldn't be surprised, and Amy got very upset. She said, if she ever went missing, you should please come look for me on the new property we just purchased. So she was already like, oh, if he hears this, I'm a dead woman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah, he's got some kind of hold on her. She said that so the 13-year-old son even started hearing rumors.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just go.
Right?
Just go.
And so he even started to fear for his own mother's safety.
Uh-huh.
Because, again, didn't really trust their dad. Todd refused to give her a divorce because he would lose half of everything. October 2018, Amy ended up staying with her uncle who was ill, and right about the same time, her grandmother passed away. Okay. So while she was staying there trying to, help her, Todd was running the farm, he was watching the kids, she's taking care of her uncle, and she starts to take some of her grandmother's furniture and storing it. And she tells her brother, she's like, hey, I'm taking Granny's furniture here because I'm going to have to leave, and I'm not going to be able to take the furniture out of my house. So it made sense. And Todd was working a lot, so he didn't even know what was going on with her, storing furniture. We come to November 10th, 2018. Recently recovering from a routine surgery that Amy had 4 days ago, a friend sent a text to Amy asking how she was doing because she just had the surgery. She was only allowed to lift like 10 pounds, all the same kind of stuff that you have.
Completely, depending on what it is that you're
Right.
getting
That 10
done.
pounds
Like
a
you're
lot.
going to be kind of,
You can't do stuff. So she said things were still tense, and she's like, I really don't even know what's happening. I have no control. Then she was still continuing that relationship with Jerry, but instead of texting him, they just started emailing each other because it was less suspicious. She emails Jerry, and she lets Jerry know that Todd is having her work out in the barn. This is 4 days after her surgery.
oh my.
Cleaning light fixtures. Like standing on a bucket cleaning light fixtures. She's like, what the fuck am I doing? Why does Todd have me outside cleaning light fixtures? Okay.
That's a lot of bending and stretching
Yeah.
and reaching and things that, like maybe.
Your body weighs more than 10 pounds.
And like this whole, you have to understand the farm, the barn, they have several barns. In the barn, it's a hog house, so it's like a football field long. It is a huge ass building, okay, and she's trying to do this, but she's getting dizzy because, she just had surgery.
Right, completely.
And
like, she should be inside
She
watching
should not be outside
Netflix
standing on a
and,
goddamn bucket.
eating soup. And
Right. So Todd was like, okay, well, why don't you go inside? But while you're walking in, can you go over there to the what is it called?
the far end of
The far end.
barn.
Go grab me the pet carrier because they had some farm kittens out there, and he wanted to run some farm equipment. He's like, put them on, go grab that for me. I want to put the kittens in there so I don't end up hurting them while I'm trying to work. So.
Okay,
So
I'm
she-
there for that. I'm just saying.
So
but-
she leaves, and then for the next hour and a half, for the next hour and a half, Todd and Tristan, the oldest, 13-year-old, they're cleaning,
okay.
and they're setting things up. They're about to receive some new, baby pigs, and they want to make sure the heaters are out and everything, and they're getting ready for that. And Todd notices that his wife did not leave the carrier for the kittens. So he looks at his son, he goes, hey, I sent her over there to that shed. Tristan, why don't you go outside to the shed and see, if she left it out there or left it on the porch.
Right, gotta get the kitty cat cages.
So Tristan goes to the shed. Tristan finds his mother near the shed, on her hands and knees, with a corn rake sticking out of her back. So
Holy.
I have to go find the picture.
You know what a corn rake is? Thank you for. Oh gosh.
I know. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, that's Todd and Amy. That's the rake.
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
So one of those. It's a big ass rake.
Zoom in.
Yeah, no, it's 4 prongs.
A 4-pronged, metal rake that looks a little like what you would use to rake up leaves,
Right.
except for maybe the prongs are farther apart.
Right.
and
It's for corn.
less numerous,
Right.
and it's deeper.
Right. It's called a corn rake. Now you know. I did not know that was a corn rake. So he goes out there. He finds his mom. She's bleeding profusely. He checks her pulse. On her neck and on her wrist. He's not getting anything. She said that his anxiety went like 0 to 150,000%, like in 3 seconds. And he starts screaming for his dad. He's like, Dad,
Why? On what grounds?
So Todd comes over to his wife. He doesn't perform. He pulls that rake out of her back.
Which is the worst thing to do. Hey, by the way, everybody, muddy buddies, if
You will
anybody
bleed
ever
to
has
death.
something that is deep into you,
Don't pull it out.
leave it, pack
Exactly.
around it, and get them to the ICU.
But the way she was in the shed, he said he had to take it out because he couldn't get her out of the shed.
Well, how did he get that into the shed?
He doesn't do CPR. He doesn't call 911. He yells at his 13-year-old. Again, this is farm. 13-year-olds drive vehicles. He's like, Tristan, go get the truck. And Tristan gets in, drives the truck over. Todd gets in the driver's side. Tristan gets in the passenger side. Todd lays his mother's body across her son's lap
Oh my god.
and starts driving.
Holy
And then he calls 911.
While driving.
So there's an actual recording of this, and they're like, "Have you tried CPR? What, will you pull over and try CPR?" They're like, "There's no pulse or anything." They finally get to the hospital, and she ends up pronounced dead as soon as they get to the hospital. When they talk to Todd, they're like, "Well, she was really dizzy standing on that bucket. She probably just fell on the, she fell on
the
the
rake.
rake. Yeah, and while she's laying on her front. Yeah, that makes sense. Except, there's four spokes there. She had 6 of the puncture wounds.
Look, maybe she's not Janet. Janet,
What, Tracy?
did they consider that she could have like fallen and been like, ow, that really hurt, and then jumped up and then fell again? Did anyone consider that?
And it looked like she had been beaten by the rake, like around her head and her face and stuff. So yeah, she fell a lot of
She
times.
fell a lot. Look, I'm clumsy. You know, it's like,
Oh. So when they end up, they were like, you know what? We're gonna do an autopsy. And they're like, yeah, there's more holes in her than that's in that.
Then there are prongs.
Yeah.
Yes, when the holes outnumber the prongs, an autopsy is warranted.
Exactly. When they looked, they had cameras out there, and conveniently, the cameras were turned off during this whole thing. There was a camera that was pointed towards the barn. They didn't have a camera on the shed, but they had cameras everywhere else. And then they magically came on again like a day or two later. And when the police asked Todd about this, he's like, oh, well, it was one of the cats. The cats knocked him down. I'm like,
my cats are the kind of cats that would turn off security cameras. If you listen to the podcast, you know.
but they did find some actual evidence. It just so happened they had a shared iPad. And when they looked up the iPad, they found searches such as, did ancient cultures kill adulterers? What happens to cheaters in history? But of course, Amy also used the same iPad, so there was pictures of wedding dresses after she got a divorce.
Janet,
Tracy.
did the cats have access to the I have to know.
No, they did
I'm
not.
just saying.
Did the pigs have access?
Meow, 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 meow.
So 4 months after the murder, Todd is arrested, and they end up finding him guilty after, I didn't read a whole lot about the actual case because it was kind of it was just repeating everything I just said. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, yeah, more holes. Yeah. They found that he was guilty of first-degree murder, and he is currently serving life in prison without parole.
Hello. All right.
So that is my story.
Oh my gosh.
Here, and I'll show you one more picture.
Okay.
Because why not, right?
Fantastic.
And there he is. He's in jail.
He looks like the sort of guy that would kill somebody and then blame it on cats.
Exactly.
So, ha ha ha, meow meow
Right.
meow.
So we're
I
not
hope
going to do
that they make him crap in a litter box wherever he is.
So we're not going to add a commercial in this, and we're not going to take a
no.
break because that's silly because you're all here, and I think we should just jump into our what's nice, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah. I'm ready for that.
Do you have your phone there? You got it written down?
I do,
Okay.
and I don't know if I think, hold on, I might not have my photo. I think that what I sent you was just photos. Okay, well, I can do what's nice.
Yes.
I don't have my photo, but it's all right.
That's
because
okay.
It's short. And my what's nice is because we were in Indiana this week for my story, the Indianapolis Ghost Tour, and I think it is usghostadventures.com is my source, and there is an Indianapolis Ghost Tour that tours the whole city. They go to a couple of haunted theaters. They go to a haunted athletic club, wherein, and this was the part that I thought was really funny, we find the ghosts of Harry Truman, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Benny Goodman. All in the same place. I don't know about you, but that's the ghost party I want to go to. All the scary spirits.
Oh my God.
Ooh, liberals. Ooh. And just kind of a fun, family-friendly walking tour.
Right.
And so that is what I have. I'm sorry. I know my what's nice was short this week because we were trying to kind of get through all of the logistics of this, and we wanted to bring you 2 nice stories.
Right.
So yeah,
Exactly.
that was it. It was short.
Right.
It was nice.
So I have what's nice, and the fun part is that it's on my phone, and guess what my phone is doing? It's live casting.
Oh dear.
It's a speedway. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna go into it.
And
There's a
me with my
speedway near
tits
where they died. Everywhere she died.
There's our connection.
It's so bad. You know what? If I'm gonna glitch on something, I'm okay with glitching on this part, right?
Oh, sure.
But there is a speedway. It was open in 1996. It was near where they had their farm, basically. And Iowa. Hold on. I can never spell Iowa. Iowa. I know.
W-A?
Iowa. Earlville. That is the name of the city, is Earlville. I love that.
Goodbye, Earlville.
Earlville Speedway. There we
You
go.
have a speedway too. Oh gosh. I love how our stories just
So
end up butting up against each other.
It's the Tri-State Raceway. It's a track built by racers for racers. It seems pretty cool. Their history is, like I said, it was 1995 when they opened. They have a dirt track that goes all the way around in a circle. They do, they have, what is it called?
All of those tracks go in a circle.
I know.
Nobody ever goes anywhere.
They have the straight ones. The races only last
Drag strip.
Drag
drag,
race.
yeah, they have a drag strip too.
Right.
And so there is not a lot going on in Earlville, is what I'm trying to say. But they have a speedway, and it's called the Tri-State Speedway. And that is my what's nice for
I
me.
almost went with an Indianapolis Speedway because it is Speedway, Indiana,
That is
which
hilarious.
is named for like the fact that they have a racing track.
Right.
But you know me, I don't like to drive in. I don't like to drive 5 miles.
No. So this
that-
was our first live.
Our first live show. Thank you. We love you so much. Thank you so much
We
for
love
listening
you.
to us. Oh,
Right.
thank you so much for listening to us.
And I'll end up our live broadcast by moving that phone to show everybody the cake.
Of
who's
course
online.
we
'Cause
will.
there's a cake.
But mostly we are just so thankful to see you and to have you here and to have you listening to us for 1 year now.
1 year.
This is incredible. This is my very favorite part of my week every week. I really, really love this. I love that you listen. I love that we get to research, even though I cuss under my breath a lot. I love that I get to write a paper every week, basically, and come and tell you something spooky. And I
Yes.
get to hang out with Janet
I get to hang out with Tracy.
and talk about it. And oh my gosh, thank you so much for sticking with us and listening to us, and especially for being here tonight. And
Right.
Janet,
Is there a last thing we're supposed to say?
there might be one more thing to say. Can you think of anything?
Stay Midwest nice.
Stay Midwest nice.